Hey lady shredders and dudes, how's it going? Meg from Fox in the Forest here, and today I'm going to talk to you about backcountry safety equipment and basic backcountry equipment for avalanche terrain as well as skiing and snowboarding in the backcountry. Some of these items are a bit optional, but most of them are certainly necessary. So we're going to discuss kind of what to look for in each of these gear pieces and what's going to be right for you. So I'm going to get started. This is my split board here. So a lot of people are a little bit confused by split boarding. If you have no idea what a split board is, now you will. So this comes apart and turns into skis. The bindings slide off right here, and they get pinned on right here, and the board splits into two, so I can skin uphill. Basically slide my feet uphill like I'm on skis with skins on. And this particular board actually really disliked it last year, and this year I'm coming around a little bit. So we'll see how the season goes. It is a Wally Artesian 153 women's board. I have a Spark R&D binding system on here, so I really love the Spark binding system. I've been really happy with my bindings. This is a pair of skis, which is something I can't really talk too much about because I haven't skied in 20 years, although, my little secret here, I'm going to try it for the first time this year, so definitely be checking in with my social channels to see what a fantastic disaster that will be. But this is an alpine touring setup, and essentially how it works is the boot sits on the binding and it's held together with pins when the skis are in tour mode, and your heel can lift up so you can slide up. So the way touring works is you have skins, and skins are essentially little carpets that go on the bottom of your skis, and the fabric runs one way. So the fabric runs uphill, and when you kind of start to slide down, that fabric will catch and stop you from making any backwards progress most of the time. So great things to look for in skins. You really, honestly, I just read a lot of reviews. I bought a mid-range skin from Backcountry.com. These are G3s. You really just want to make sure that the glue holds. So the big thing with skins is you want to replace them when the glue starts to go bad, or you want to apply more adhesive to them. You really want to try to take good care of them. So these are how they should be stored, at least mine, because I don't have lots of the fancy netting that some of the other skins come with. When you're done touring for the day, you always want to take them out of your pack. You want to pull them apart, which is, I'm sure you've seen lots of hilarious videos. It can be quite tough to pull apart. And you want to hang them with the glue facing up and let them dry. And you want to do this not near a source of heat. So you don't want to be laying them near a fire or anything like that. You want them in just kind of a cool, dry place, but not too cold, so that they can dry out and that the glue can continue to live a long and fruitful life for you. So I'm going to talk a bit about avalanche safety and what you need. These are absolutely essential items to go into the backcountry with. You should never go to the backcountry without having a beacon, shovel, probe, and know how to use them. So this is a probe. Basically what this is used to do, this is used to probe the snow in the event of an avalanche, and it'll fold to one long thing, and it's helpful in measuring when you're digging your pits and doing your snowpack analysis. The probes always come kind of in a little case. So one note about this case is it is completely useless to you in the backcountry. Trash. We don't need it, right? Like, don't need it. So definitely in the event of an avalanche, the last thing you want to have happen is to have to like screw the zipper and like pull something out. You want to be able to do things as quickly and as efficiently as possible. The next item is a shovel. So this is my backcountry access shovel. The shovel extends out. It's a 3-piece shovel. And notice it's metal. So you definitely want to have a metal shovel, because when an avalanche happens and you have to dig into the snow, it feels like setting concrete. So a plastic shovel is going to be very useless to you and actually very dangerous to carry. So make sure you have a metal shovel with you in the backcountry, and one that collapses down, preferably one that's very specific to actual backcountry travel and safety. The other absolutely essential item is your beacon. So this is the BCA Tracker 2. They came out with the BCA Tracker 3 last year. And what you want to make sure you have in your beacon is you want a minimum of a 3 antenna system. A 2 antenna system is really going to be a problem if there's a multiple burial They're not as accurate, and you don't want to ever have to be in that situation. You really want like the safest thing possible. These are not cheap, and they're not meant to be cheap. But when you really boils down to it, a few $100 is well worth your life. For the BCA Tracker 2, you're always going to want to test it when you're at home. So you're going to want to turn it on, make sure that the batteries are working. Mine right now is at 59%, which means I should probably change the battery. And you want to make sure it works in search mode. So always check it before you leave for the trailhead. Bring extra batteries with you and check them at the trailhead. So you always want to do a beacon check. You always want to have your entire team go through. Everybody has a chance to be in search mode. Make sure everybody's beacons were working properly. These also come with a harness, so they're meant to be worn at about here. The famous beacon boob, as it were. You should have it at probably most base layer of clothing. Not something that you're going to take off or on, because then you are going to have to take your beacon on or off, and you never want to do that. It is always on you at all times. Another way I like to wear it is I'll run a clove hitch through my belt loop, and then I'll clip this to my belt loop, and I'll put it in a zippered pocket that I know is ultra secure, that's still very close to the core of my body. You want it as close to the core of your body as possible, and you want to keep it away from things like cell phones and credit cards that might interfere. And you definitely want to make sure you take very good care of this guy. It is your lifeline should you ever need to use it. Another thing I have here is my field ops book. So before I go on any tour, I will write avalanche dangers, snowpack discussions, weather forecasting, and my travel plan in this book. So that way I can discuss it with my group that I'm going out with. And I get all this information prior, like on the internet, so I'll read the avalanche bulletins. I try to keep up with them throughout the season, so I know what snowpack's doing. I know if like some weird layers have showed up, what has happened, what is the history of those layers. And then if you do have to dig any pits, but all of your reports are going to go in here, and all of your tests are going to go in here as well. And I'll usually travel with like a little golf pencil or something like that. Along with this. This is a super handy book. And another thing I also take with me is a slope meter. Now this isn't something you necessarily need, but I like it. It's super fun. I've actually used it in the summer too, to be like, oh, what am I hiking on right now? And it'll tell you the slope angle of the slope you're on. It also has a little compass on it, so you can try to figure out, what aspect you're on. And that's going to tell you a lot about, is it safe or not to be on this kind of terrain? What am I traveling on? It's just a handy little tool to have, super lightweight, doesn't take up much space. So I always bring mine with me. Walkie-talkies are really great if you're traveling with bigger groups. You can communicate with people in the front or the back, or if you're going through a bunch of trees and you all end up sort of in slightly different places at the bottom, you can certainly, radio your friends and figure out what's going on. Another thing that isn't required, but I would highly, 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 highly recommend having is some type of PLB, a personal locator beacon. So this is my Rescue Link, ACR Rescue Link. It is registered with NOAA. I had to literally send in a letter to the government with a bunch of paperwork filled out, and I can push a button on here and it will send for help. So something like this is really, really handy in an emergency situation. It is not cheap. The Spot is definitely a cheaper option. However, the Spot requires a subscription and goes through a third party that then goes through and contacts search and rescue. This just goes straight to search and rescue, one-time fee. The last piece of equipment that I'd say is pretty necessary is the piece of equipment that will carry all of this stuff. So this is my backcountry touring bag. It's a Dakine Blade 38. I've talked about it a lot in a lot of different videos and a lot of different posts. It is a backcountry specific pack. So things to look for in a backcountry specific pack. First and foremost, you're gonna wanna have a pack that's comfortable for you. So I highly recommend going to the store and trying a bunch of different ones on, and then maybe you can search for whatever deal you want online. I would recommend having a pack that's at least 30 liters. This is 38, so it's got plenty of space. 30 liters is going to give you enough room to store your tools, store your skins, store your extra layers, store snacks and food. One thing I would really recommend looking for is how does it carry the skis? So how do you carry skiers or snowboards? So this is a snowboard, more snowboard specific pack. You can carry the snowboard right here. It's got reinforcements on the side of it, so it's not going to cut and ruin your bag. You can also carry it on the back. So the back panel of this comes down, so you can carry a snowboard in between you and your back sideways. That's really great if you're traveling on a snowmobile or anything like that. Super, super handy feature there. Overall, that's pretty much the basics as to what you need at a bare minimum to get out into the backcountry for safety gear and general backcountry specific gear. So if you have any questions or anything you'd like to add to this post, feel free to comment below. Get in touch with me on a lot of my socials. I'm a pretty, easygoing person. I'd love to hear from you, and definitely check out a lot of my winter content posts this year. So happy shredding, guys. See ya.